music makes a difference and is played past eternity. You're the ones who fought the war, inspiring a man like me. Forgive the grief when you came home. We've tried to make things right. You gave this country all you had. You gave much more than fight. You formed this band of brothers from many walks of life. The war brought you together. You've handled all the strife. I know that each had lost someone, a friend who had your back. You keep in touch with one another and you try to stay intact. Decades have elapsed, the years have all gone by. You've questioned when this happened, you've always wondered why. A war brought you together, a friendship that has grown. You formed your band of brothers, and you'll never be alone. The message that I leave you, you can dwell upon. You'll never be forgotten when you're dead and gone, 'cause a war brought you together, a friendship that has grown. You formed your band of brothers and you'll never be alone. You formed your band of brothers and you'll never be alone.
That's Dan Kouba on our morning show from WRCO Radio. Welcome back to the next segment here as we talk about an upcoming concert for veterans coming up on Saturday. In the studio with us, Paul Knorr and Dan Kouba, who wrote and sang that song. Good morning again there, Dan. How are you?
Good morning, Phil.
Tell me the story about Band of Brothers, the song we just heard.
Ole and I were on our way down to Nashville to record the song Pink Sunglasses, which you play. Thank you. And I was sitting in Paducah, Kentucky, and I don't know why, but I decided to write that song. And Ole liked it. And so that next day when we went and recorded Pink Sunglasses, we get done, and Mike Shrimp, the guy that I work with all the time down in Nashville, he says, I understand you got another song. I said, what? He says, Ole says you got another song. So all of a sudden...
Let me clarify, who's Ole?
Who's Ole?
Ole is Maureen, my wife.
Oh, okay.
Of almost 50 years.
The listeners need a clarification, Dan.
Right. She's in the studio with us, too.
Yes.
That's Paul Knorr there, my good friend used to be from Hillsboro. Now he resides in Richland Center.
He's not in the band either, by the way.
Heck no. He was in a band years ago called the Saints of 69.
Is that right?
There is no evidence of that ever existing.
What instruments did you play, Paul?
I was the rhythm guitar.
Rhythm guitar, okay.
Back to you, Dan.
Okay,
Back to the matter at hand here.
So anyway, in the door walks Jordan Larson. Jordan Larson, for anybody doesn't know, is he's the lead guitar for Blake Shelton, and he walks in with a 12-string guitar, and we're going to record the song that I wrote in Paducah the night before, and you just heard it, and it was I think it pretty much sets it in place of where the music has gone for these guys, and how my good friend Mary Blower, who married Dwayne, by the way, Dwayne's in the hospital now, and I sure hope the best for him, but Mary Blower said that my music does more for her husband in 1 year than any shrink did in 45 years. So I'm very, very proud of that.
That Band of Brothers song, was that used in the movie that they put out?
No.
No?
No, it should have been, but no. The movie is Apache Blues, Welcome Home. They actually used two of my songs in that, Veterans Trail and Requiem. And we're going to be playing 5 of the songs that are on the 10-song CD on Saturday night at the auditorium for the vets. So we're gonna actually have a set with about the vet for the vets only. But I was telling them outside that we're still gonna do Mustang Sally and Pink Sunglasses and Church Lady and all the other stuff that you guys play here.
Your greatest hits.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll be awesome. Paul Knorr is here as well. Paul, you were here for a recent event, the Jimmies. How did that go?
The Jimmy's went fine. Yes, we had over 100 people there. It went fine. Everybody had a good time. And but now we've decided to put on another show with Dan Kouba coming this Saturday night.
So you got all your ducks in a row then with the group?
Sure, I think so. Yeah, we'll be ready. We're trying to rejuvenate a little bit the city auditorium. We're trying to get a few more acts coming in there. And so we had one in October. We've got Dan in November. Then we got Maggie May coming up in December. So it'll be a busy fall at the city auditorium.
Well, it's nice to see kind of getting on that regular. I know other towns have that where they've got like a regular group that comes in about every month.
So we're doing that, and we are trying to get the city auditorium kind of have that building come to life again. I think it and does have a new elevator now, and we've been doing some improvements to it, and we think Dan Kouba will bring in some people, some veterans, especially on Saturday night. So,
indeed.
You know, it's been around since 1913, the City Auditorium has.
Yeah.
It was the first show. And now we've had, I wrote down the people that have been there. We've had Clarence Darrow, Williams Jennings Bryant, Robert Taft, Wendell Wilkie, and now Dan Kouba.
Dan Kouba.
Wendell Wilkie?
Wendell Wilkie was
Really?
there, yes. Some politicians were there.
Yep.
And now we've added to that Dan Kouba. And at one time, the Federated Women's Club occupied the lower floor. And also in the lower floor at one time were the American Legion. Mm-hmm. So what goes around comes around, I guess.
Yeah, very much so. Dan, why do you do these concerts for veterans? Because I know this isn't your first one.
Well, I'm not a veteran. And I am so proud of the fact that my dad and my brother are veterans. And let me tell you, the first song that I ever wrote about the veterans was called Name Tag. And Name Tag was about 2 guys that met at my 50th class reunion. And the last time that they saw each other, one carried the other one out of the rice paddies of Vietnam with 4 holes in his back. Well, when I saw these 2 guys hugging, PTSD is a real thing, and so you gotta be cautious about this stuff. So I asked permission if I could write about what I just saw, and they agreed to it. And I don't know if you know the rest of the story or not, but somehow or another, I was playing that song live here. And streaming goes on, and Bobby G. Rice was sitting in Nashville, Tennessee, and he heard your show because, he's from Boscobel.
Mm-hmm.
He heard your show, called this station, and invited me to come down to Nashville to re-record that song with Nashville Pickers. It all started because of WRCO. I'm very, very proud of you guys.
Still waiting for that gold record on the wall, by the way, but haven't.
Well, it made number 5.
I know.
Yeah.
Did really well.
But I've had some gold, but different charts,
Sure. But that name tag story, it's almost like if you wrote a Hollywood movie about it, people would be like, "Oh, you're embellishing that. That could never happen." It's just amazing that it happened that way.
Well, Dan Renish, when we were in 8th grade, moves away. And Mary Haase, who ended up marrying Dwayne Bloor, was in my class. Dwayne's older than we are. And Dan Renish called me up. Him and I have always stayed close. He called me up and he said, "Are you guys having a 50th?" And I said, "Yes, we are." He says, "Could I come?" And I said, "Sure." So I got him an invite. And so Dwayne is older. And when everybody had to have a name tag, that's the name of the song. And Dwayne sees this guy's name tag. And next thing, they're hugging because Dwayne said to him, "I thought you were dead." And the rest of the story is that he carried him out of the rice paddies. It's just an amazing story. But, and I don't want to get on any soapbox, yeah. But if my music really and truly makes a difference for these vets, thank you.
What is one of the stories that you've maybe when you're playing a show or a veteran comes up and thanks you? Is there one that's like most precious to you?
When I watched the movie, the trailer for the movie Apache Blues Welcome Home, you remember Walter Cronkite?
Sure.
Walter Cronkite, in 1970, it was March 19th of 1970 is the day that Dwayne Bloor received his Silver Star for saving his entire platoon. So he sends a man by the name of Richard Threlkill over to Vietnam as a correspondent. And in the movie, you will see 9 dead VC laying on the ground. And somebody from CBS is going through their pockets. And one of the blues comes out of his hooch and he said, "Let the dead rest." And when I saw that, I wrote the song Requiem. I was raised Catholic. Requiem to me means it's their funeral mass. I never use the word requiem in the song, but it is, he'll never see his sons grow old. He'll never hear his daughters say, "I do." For him, it's over, done and finished. For him, his life is through. And you're just taking the other perspective of the fallen enemy. And that song has made a heck of an impact.
Truly has. The show on Saturday night, you mentioned you're going to play some other tunes along the way. Do you have the vet set in the middle then, or how are you going to work it?
We're going to do the first set. We're going to start out with the regular covers, and we're going to mix in some of my original stuff in there. But then the last 5 songs of the first set is going to be from the Apache Blues CD. And then I've got a special gift, I guess we're going to call it. I'm going to do a solo, God Bless the USA. And then the next set is going to be covers and originals and whatever, but we'll rock the house.
Well, you've got a great band. Could you talk about your band members, Dan?
Oh, Lordy, yes. We picked up Doc Gielig. Doc Gielig was actually playing at your event, Paulie.
He was at the event, correct?
He was at the event. He came with Gary Gutnick.
I believe so, yes.
And
the instigator.
Yeah, there you go. And we were playing an event for your 40th anniversary of Metco.
Correct, which was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Or more.
Anyway, Doc he's a hell of a bass player. And
this is
by the
community
way,
radio, Dan. Watch out.
I know that. I'm not supposed to say that. I apologize. Anyway, see, Paul.
By the way, could you get Doc Geely's autograph for me? On
Oh,
Saturday
sure.
night?
Yeah, I could. Very
I do
easily.
have a bass guitar that I need an autograph.
Anyway, I find out that Doc's a bass player. But he's more than a bass player. He has got an incredible harmony vocal. Incredible. He makes me sound really decent. Doc's on bass. Jake Olson is now our keyboard player, and he's doing a marvelous job. Joe Havlick went from being lead guitar to drummer, and he's been on the drums for 50-some years, and he just decided that he was going to start playing a different instrument, so he started playing guitar, and my hat's off to him because he's made that change, and he is a terrific drummer, terrific. And then we picked up Eric Mobley, and Eric Mobley's a young guy from Hillsboro who's got all kinds of talent, and he is our lead guitar, and he is really special. He's never been in a band that does original songs, and I guess that is what he was looking for. And don't forget Tom Keller. Tom Keller is our sound man, and he can make us sound good, really good. But you got to pay him.
Good to play in that auditorium too, acoustically. That's have you had the chance before?
I went over to watch the Jimmies.
Oh yeah.
And we were trying to figure out how we were going to run the sound system on that thing, and I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. It's an incredible building, incredible. I think the way we're going to arrange the acoustics, I think it's going to be pretty good.
Awesome. People, you don't have to get advance tickets, Paul, right?
That's correct, yeah. Tickets are $20, and they'll be for sale at the door, cash or credit card.
Keep in mind the $20. The $20 this is a fundraiser for the veterans. And so my band is not receiving the $20. I want you to realize that. This is, if you're looking for a good place to donate $1, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
Can I tell my story about your first gig, Dan, that I went to?
You sure can.
It was a funeral, was it
Yes,
not?
it was.
That's where your career started, I think.
That's where, and I feel responsible because I told him he did a good job after the funeral.
You told me I had to be on stage.
Well, you tell the story about how you ended up playing at this funeral, Dan.
Leonard Weiland was my best friend. And Leonard Weiland passed away, and Ole and I at the time were in Florida. And I was recovering from my heart surgery. And I called up Alice and Debbie, and I said, can you hold the funeral until I get home? Now, I couldn't carry a casket or nothing like that, but I asked them, would it be possible if I could sing a song at his funeral? And I think they were shocked. But I did Wayfaring Stranger by Johnny Cash, and Paulie was sitting there, and he came up to me afterwards. He says, man, you're good. He says, you should be on stage. And I took his advice.
I still haven't got my cut.
Either we thank you or we blame you. I guess.
There you go, one or the other. And what year? How many years ago was that, Dano?
That was in 2017.
Okay, so 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Really?
2017. Yeah. Well, I picked up the guitar in 2015.
Which is amazing to me because it seems like the older you get, you don't adapt to new things quite as well.
I had 82 employees and had 8 companies, and I was having my second heart surgery in Madison, Wisconsin in April of 2015. And the doc comes in, gives me a book, and said that he couldn't keep fixing me. And in the book it said that music was a stress relief. So I go home, and I called up that guy that's now my drummer, who was lead guitar, Joe Havlick, and I said, "Can you teach me how to play guitar?" And he said, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 64. "Well, you'll be the oldest student I ever had." And so that was 131 songs ago, 49 charted, and 41 published, and 49 published, 9 charted. I had a Grammy nomination for the song Ginger that I did for the Passages organization. And we got a movie out called Apache Blues Welcome Home. So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
I'm 73 now, and I think I act 50. And I'm pretty sure I could beat Paul in a game of basketball.
Really?
Oh,
But what about pickleball?
I don't know. Yeah, pickleball.
I never played it.
Okay, well,
Never played it. I don't have any fingers. Remember?
I understand. See, you're the second best guitarist that I've heard of with not all their digits. Django Reinhardt being the first. Remember?
Good call.
Yes.
Oh, man. So what's the next big project for the auditorium, Paul? What's the next big goal?
Well, we're trying to get the outside sealed up. We have to, the windows, it's such an old building, the windows and the tuck pointing and all that. During COVID, well, the last project was the elevator, which we managed to pull off. The next project will be sealing the outside and getting tuck pointing, getting windows and such done. So we're trying to raise money to do that. Everything before COVID was $1 million. Now it's more like $1.5 million or $2 million. So that's and the ultimate goal is to get new seats in there, but that's a long ways down the road, which we do have 100 new seat cushions for the place. So we will unveil the new seat cushions on Saturday nights.
Wonderful.
That you can take along with you
Sure.
that have more padding than the ones before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully people sit. Maybe they'll stand for a little bit anyway, right?
Well, I hope if Ollie's there, they'll be boogieing.
They'll be dancing.
Dancing in the aisles.
Ollie and Rosie will be dancing in the aisles. Right? So,
Your better halves.
there you go.
Great. Coming up Saturday night at 7:30. Tickets available at the door at the Richland Center City Auditorium. Anything you'd like to add today, Dan?
I just hope we have a really good turnout, and the veterans deserve this.
And
I'd like to thank Phil and WRCO for having us on this morning and helping with getting the program going for Saturday night. Appreciate it, Phil.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
you're the only guy I know with a VHS on his desk.
That was our prop for Grease when the kids were in here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a couple of them knew what a VHS tape was, too. I was impressed. Dan Kouba and Paul Knorr in the studio. Dan, whose career actually started here way back when we started playing the Church Lady song some years ago. You're going to play that on Saturday night, too, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the encore, maybe?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't want to give too
Pink
much away.
Sunglasses is going to be right there towards the end,
That's
though.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. Thanks for coming in today, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, Phil.
Dan Kouba and Paul Knorr joining us. Again, that show's coming up for veterans on Saturday night here in our fair city.